Hey, what's going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to the PSO2 video. So today's video, I'm going to just go over 5 quick tips to help new players out in their experience in PSO2 NGS. But before we jump into that, guys, if you're new here, my name is Chrono. I do content over here on YouTube daily. Would much appreciate it to subscribe as we're clawing our way up to that 10K mark by the end of the year. As of right now, last I checked, we were around 5.7K, so we actually beat our 5K mark pretty handedly and are almost at the 6K mark fairly quickly. So I appreciate you guys joining along with us as we just enjoy our time over in NGS. But that's enough shilling. Let's jump into this. So going into our first tip, if you're just starting out the game itself, and this one actually works for veterans of PSO2 as well as brand new players to NGS, follow your story. In previous games, previous PSO2, just the base game, the story was completely disconnected from the actual game itself. Leveling was its own thing completely. All of the things we basically did in game were just not connected to story whatsoever. In NGS, story has complete breakpoints where they stop you and halt your progress, as well as they have complete unlocks. So it's worth jumping directly into your story and doing basically only that all the way till it actually stops you and gets you to a battle power point. My second tip is grab side quests as you see them. Side quests offer amazing experience for the leveling process while you're going through your first character, as well as teach you about systems in the game itself. So there are a few unlocks to be evolved along with it. So definitely make sure you grab them. They are all over Central Ileo. They're all over Central City specifically, but they're only within Central City. So look around, double check your map, make sure you're grabbing those quests. Also with down where the operators are at after you go down the elevator. So don't forget, there could be some down there too. And it's worth noting side quests don't all appear immediately. You do have to do some unlocks in the story for other side quests to pop up. Tip number 3, this one's kind of important, is don't rush to gather as soon as you start playing. Gathering resources, while very important, are actually also part of side quests. So if you jump the gun and gather a resource almost to instinction right when you start playing the game, if you get to the side quest, it doesn't count retroactively, so you may end up stunting your growth onto the next day. Now, it's okay to go ahead and gather a bunch of resources if you know you're not going to get around to getting to those side quests, but if you think you might be pushing yourself through, especially early on, if you're someone who, like me, who just got absolutely obsessed with the game and is going to play a bunch, just give it a bit until you actually see the quest for gathering those resources, and then before you log out on day 1, go ahead and gather the resources as they reset on daily reset, which at the moment for me is 8 a.m. EST. Tip number 4 is one that comes up quite a bit just because people are trying to reach battle power breakpoints, but do your cocoons and your towers. Now, one thing to note about this is a lot of people don't realize, but recommended amount of battle power for cocoon is not the same as required amount, meaning you're able to do these cocoons even if you're underneath the battle power they show. Now, at least being level 11 means that the enemies don't defend your attacks, so you'll still be able to actually deal with them. But it is recommended to get these taken care of as soon as you can, even if a friend just carries you through them, because cocoons and towers, well, cocoons giving you 1 and towers giving you 4, provide the SP for your classes. And putting points into your class skill tree gives you more battle power, so it helps you reach those breakpoints faster. That way you're able to go ahead and continue your story. One extra side note, cocoons are technically set to be tackled individually, or at least they're scaled to. So if you do take a party in there, keep in mind that if you're trying to go for, those max stars, which you don't need to get the points for a cocoon. That's another thing to note, is you don't need to get all max stars S rank to be able to get your skill points. You just have to complete it. But if you're going into a cocoon, they do share all of the negative sides. So let's say, for example, we're looking at the cocoon that you need to parkour through. It asks you to only glide a certain number of times. That's for the entire party. So if 3 of you all glide the same jump, it counts as 3 glides. So it might be worth maybe doing that one solo or having only one person run through while everyone else stays at the start. And tip number 5 is probably one of the most important tips that's kind of easy to mess up, to be honest. Enhance and augment your gear, so that way you get the battle power you need. Especially if you don't have base PSO2 gear, this is probably one of the most important things you need to know. Now, you're not going to lose a lot by enhancing gear that you may not continue to use moving forward. The enhancing process, I'll be honest, I was thinking about making a guide for this. I happened to find another content creator by the name of, I'm probably going to butcher this and I apologize in advance, Bima, that also does content for the game itself. Looks like they're fairly new, but they made a very, very good guide talking about how to effectively enhance your gear without breaking the bank, so to say. So I'm going to leave that in the video description, that way you guys can go ahead and follow over to that. It's a absolutely goated guide. I would highly recommend going and following through it. Most of what I was doing anyway and what I was going to recommend is literally in that guide plus then some, also with math. So definitely recommend checking it out. It will help you out quite a bit. As far as augmentation, some people are concerned about augmenting gear they're not going to keep. Keep in mind, increasing your battle power is just based on the strength of the augment, not what it actually gives you. So if you're, say, someone who only plans on playing melee and you've got a bunch of range augments left over that you can't sell, maybe you're free to play or something along those lines, or you just, they're not worth very much, you can just use those augments on your gear to get you that extra battle power that you might need. Also, it's very uncommon right now for people to augment HP and defensive stats, so those augments are probably fairly inexpensive, almost borderline useless. You can definitely use those to your advantage. The stronger the augment, the more battle power you're gaining. Now, that's not an exact science, and there are definitely people going through and getting the exact amount of battle power that you will get off of each of the augments. However, we're not really too concerned about that exact setup. We just want to get as much battle power as we possibly can. So while you have extra resources to your availability, go ahead and use them. It is going to be important for you to be able to reach that battle power threshold. And that's about it, guys. Like I mentioned, I wanted to keep this kind of short, get you guys moving forward, having a good time with PSO2 NGS. I know I'm having a blast, but there are some things that are going to be helpful to understand. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to toss it into the comments below. As always, guys, a like on the video is much appreciated and absolves your half your ad block. Get the other half is absolved by subscribing. Both are completely free and they do help me out a ton. If you want to keep up with videos as they go live, don't forget to click on the bell icon to be notified of those, as well as community posts, or join us over on Discord or follow me over on Twitter for notifications via those two avenues. Thanks so much for watching all the way in, guys. Don't forget to comment if you're part of the End Gang, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.